So far away, Lucas and lovely audience at home. Welcome once again to an episode of Wiki Weekends where we talk about a random wiki we find on the internet on a subject we find interesting. And today we're talking about one of my favourite video games of all time, Final Fantasy VIII. So far away, Lucas, I know for a fact that you are at the very least aware of Final Fantasy VIII because myself and you played through it in its entirety on my gaming channel, which I'll link below somewhere.
We did indeed, and I'm pretty sure you did have artwork on the table.
I did, yes. So, just to show off how much I love this game, one of my prized possessions is a canvas a friend of mine brought me from a gaming con they went to where someone had just painted the logo for Final Fantasy VIII with the topic of today's video on it, Squall Leonhardt, which pisses me the hell off. So, did you know that Squall's last name is Squall Leonhardt? Not Lionheart, Leonhardt. Leon Heart.
Even though it isn't the name of his... Isn't like his signature weapon the Lionheart, though?
Yeah, Griever. And his final move's called Lionheart. But his name is spelled Leon. He's like basically he's the knockoff version of like Richard the Lionheart. But then the lion theme is so prevalent in all of his like design and stuff.
Okay, he has got that nice fluffy mane, Karl.
That's the thing, even like his coat is the mane, so people, which we'll no doubt get into. But, we're referring to the Final Fantasy Wiki, and for anyone who's unfamiliar with the character of Squall Leonhardt, I have a quote from the character himself here. Right and wrong are not what separate us from our enemies. It's our different standpoints, our perspectives that separate us. And that's just like Mr. Neutral himself, innit?
I thought it was just going to be ... whatever.
Oh, man. And I love that Squall's catchphrase. He's just, whatever. Which I don't like, because we'll no doubt get into it if it's mentioned in the wiki, of the meme thing people know about Squall is that he says whatever in regards to everything. And that's because it's a poor translation from the original Japanese, where it's supposed to be him being more sarcastic. Mm-hmm. Like, Squall is often, at least in like Western localizations, seems to be like very cold and aloof, whereas in the Japanese version, he's cynical, he's sarcastic, he's a bit wry. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't really come across. He just comes across as an arsehole in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, it's like either like a complete arsehole or just like he seemingly does not give a shit
about anything.
Whereas, like, as you say, it's a bit more of like a stoic, jokey, sarcastic kind of vibe in Japanese, apparently.
But in reality, though, he gives the biggest shit of anyone. A young and aloof seed mercenary. I'm not sure if it is pronounced seed because it's a text-based game and it's just S-E-E-E capital D, but it's all part of the same word. So I pronounce it seed, maybe other people pronounce it CD. I pronounce it seed, so it's like, no, they come from a garden. They come from gardens, seed, the image is there.
I'm a seed dispatched from Balam Garden. I'd like to ask you some questions if you don't mind.
I always thought it was seed because it's one word rather than like C space D.
Also, he's trained in a garden. Seeds come from a garden. And it reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy X, the character of Tidus. And I remember once where someone was, no, his name's pronounced Tidus. And I went, well, the game is entirely revolving around this water theme. Mm-hmm. And he's like, water? Tide?
Again, Tidus. Okay? Tidus.
A lot of them that aren't fucking Clive, a lot of the protagonists are named... A lot of the protagonists in Final Fantasy around that time specifically were named after like elements of weather. So like cloud, lightning, squall. It's like maybe tide makes more sense than teed.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, like Aerith. So it's all good, but as it says he is. Others view him as cold and focused until he begins to question the way he has chosen to live his life. Squall's weapon is the Gunblade, which is so dumb, but I appreciate that they tried. It's like, the Buster Blade is so iconic. They're never going to design another Final Fantasy weapon as good as the Buster Blade. And even the Buster Blade is just a rip-off of the Dragon Slayer from Guts.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the Dragon Slayer. So I appreciate that they try to do something different, and the Gunblade is exactly what it sounds like. It is a literal revolver with a sword on the end.
And as dumb as it is, it's still fucking cool.
It's cool, and the way they say it works is, as you slice, the instant you hit the enemy, pull the trigger at the same time, it sends a shockwave down the blade, causing extra damage, which is the same way like Raiden's sword works in Metal Gear Revengeance. Like the vibrations help its cutting and concussive power.
Nice.
It says here that he's one of the most iconic weapons in all of Final Fantasy, and I say it would be. I struggle to think of a weapon besides the Gunblade and the Buster Blade that's as iconic.
And obviously, Sephiroth's is Masamune as
the
well,
Masamune, which is from the same series. But you know, protagonist weapons, I'd say it's his. It's Cloud, it's Squall, and then maybe like Tidus, because I really like the fish hook on it. Again, the water theme, the fish hook design.
Whoa! You're giving this to me?
Yeah, use it well.
Yeah, trying to think, like, obviously, like, elements of Final Fantasy are in it, but like Kingdom Hearts with the Keyblade.
The Keyblade, yeah, is kind of
obviously it's not Final Fantasy, but it's Final Fantasy crossover.
Yeah. But it says here that Squall idolizes the mythical winged lion Griever, holding it as an ideal of courage and strength, traits he wishes to possess himself, which I think he does. It's like, never forget, Lucas, when we played that game, and like I showed you how OP powerful Squall is, of just Renzo Kuken fucking murks everything. And it's just like, oh yeah, here's God, and Squall's like, I'm going to hit it.
And as well, that you can manipulate the game so you can essentially Renzo Kuken over and over and over again.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't like Final Fantasy VIII because it's not, you don't use MP, you have to draw magic. And a lot of people, it takes ages to draw magic. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's only right at the start of the game. You're not supposed to draw like 100 of every spell. You're supposed to draw enough to use and move on. And then once you get 3 hours into the game, you get the ability to just create magic from items, and that's how you make items and get magic. Because in this game, limit breaks just happen randomly, and they're more likely to happen the lower your health is. So if you attack Squall, so he weakens himself, and then, because you can just skip between characters, but if you just mash super hard, you'll skip until you get your limit break, like so. Ah, shit, I keep missing. There we go. Renzo Kuken, now I win. And you can just constantly use your limit break on every enemy in the game.
Jesus Christ, I did not realise that.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But either way, so we have here some basic biographical information, like, you know, name, Squall Leonhardt, home, Balam Garden, age 17, born August 23rd, so he just missed his birthday. Occupation, mercenary, later commander, because he's eventually put in charge. Race, human, gender, male. Height, 5'8". So he's a 5'8" warrior.
Oh yeah.
Weight, 62 kilos. And then his limit break, Renzo Kuken, which is so fucking OP boss. It's so good. Which is like, and again, it takes advantage of the systems of the game, of like the active battle system, which you can see like expanded upon in Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's not just a passive thing where you press a button, he does a move. You actively have to like press buttons and time your like your slashers with the R1 trigger pull to do maximum damage. And if you do maximum damage, then you get the extra part of his limit break, like Rough Divide or Blasting Zone, where he just puts the laser the size of the earth.
That's a full-on Dragon Ball Z move.
He's so strong. Oh, I guess we go. Oh yeah, the new specials. He's got a new sword.
Blasting Zone.
Lucas, if you ready. Oh my God, Squall, no! Squall, no, you can't have this power. I have the fucking power. Oh! The consonant-sized blade! Oh, fuck you! Lucas, I have the fucking power. But then again, everyone in that game is so strong. I remember I showed you Zell, and Zell runs all the way around the earth.
I do appreciate that about Final Fantasy VIII's limit break, because it's just, there's that element of interactivity with them all. Like, for example, with Zell, where you can come up with combos on your own.
Yeah, and just you always end up doing Punch Rush Armageddon because it's the strongest thing ever, which people don't know is you just spam the 2 weakest moves, which are the quickest ones to input, but because you can do that in like 1/10 of a second, you have 3 seconds to do as many as you can, it ends up doing the most damage overall. But you can, if you want to, do like, some of Tifa's moves, like Dolphin Rush is in there, my favourite. The old Slippery Duchess herself, where you just uppercut and dolphins come out, which is never explained.
Yeah, I think it's better that it's never explained.
Yeah, and he does like My Final Heaven as well, but he does the better version of it, and that's what I love. Like it's taking little bits from like Final Fantasy VII, like like Omni Slash. We're going to do our version of that, but Squall's is just a little bit better because he does Lionheart, where he hits 30 times.
It's going to be immune to, like, Rapture anyway.
Yes! Lionheart! Here we go, Lucas. The real shit.
This is what we fucking need.
Ugh! Take this weapon of mass... Oh, fuck you! How do you like getting this much damage done?
Oh, God.
Ah!
So that's going to take a good chunk of his health off.
That's at least 150,000 damage right there. And it's like, oh, Tifa does like My Final Heaven, where she punches really fast. Zell's going to run all the way around the world. Just because.
Oh.
Shit! Oh, shit! I think I got it.
Yes!
Zell! End it! He's like,
What does he
there's
run
no world.
around? There's nothing to
He's
run
gonna-
around, Karl.
Lucas. The world's still there in Zell's heart. It's kept alive in Zell's heart. This is it. This is everybody's hopes. It's like, like Barrett's got like, Apocalypse, where he shoots the giant rocket. And it's like, well, we're just going to give like our guy a rail gun. And like Irvine, who's got the rail gun.
My favourite one might just be Selfie.
Oh,
where every now and then, Selfie can just like get someone to just grab the enemy and take them away.
Yeah, she has a move called the End, and it can insta-kill the final boss. It's so good. Which is like a thing in Final Fantasy. There's always like that bullshit one-hit kill attack. My other favourite being Zanmoto from Final Fantasy X with Yojimbo. And it's just like you just pay him, pay to win. They predicted it. Like you just give Yojimbo like, here's a million gil, and and he nods at you and he's like, final boss is dead. But I'm not going to do that. I don't like pissing him off, because when it's that thing of like, it's funny the first few times, but when you need him and he doesn't come.
Yeah.
So it's a game. Oh, nod. There we go, we win. So.
Okay. Zanmato. Oh my god, yes.
So he doesn't use his sword, he uses this. This is his special sword that he only uses for special occasions.
Yeah, summon the spectral katana.
So I like to say this for close encounters, Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
So that does no damage. It is an instant kill.
Yeah.
And it's an instant kill on every enemy. But anyway, move back to Squall. Appearance, a teenager with unruly brown hair and light blue eyes. I wonder why I related to him. Squall wears most often a black leather bomber jacket with a fur trim reminiscent of a lion. And I think we did a video on the channel before about the fact that that collar was a pure flex.
We did indeed.
I think a thing people don't appreciate is that Final Fantasy VII is like the iconic one. But if you look at the graphics of Final Fantasy VII and the graphics of Final Fantasy VIII, and then look at them and go, these came out like a year apart on the same console.
Yep, it's insane, and it's also insane just that it's like Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 come out with like within like 5 years of one another.
Yeah, and like the jump
all
is
5
insane.
of them.
But like the 7 to 8 is so ridiculous because like you get, that game did look great and there's a lot of fun stuff to have. But you have like the cutscene with Sephiroth and his big polygon hair. 1 year later, you get the opening cutscene of 8, where we have like Squall's like fur on his jacket, which they only put in to show that they could do it. Because other people in the industry said, you'll never be able to realistically render a fur collar. So what they did is they went back and they made the fur collar even bigger.
And put it on the protagonist, which exists throughout the entire game. Yeah.
It says that when Squall isn't wearing this outfit, he will be seen wearing his Seed uniform or Seed cadet uniform, although he will only do this when he's required to. And in flashbacks, he'll wear an orange loose shirt and several black horizontal stripes upon it. On his guest appearance as a secret character in Chocobo Racing, both his brown hair and light blue eyes are darker, and his interconnecting red belts, because of course he's got to wear multiple belts. He's a Final Fantasy character. Have a lion's head belt buckle on them to continue and double down on his lion motif. In the Kingdom Hearts series, Squall changed his name to Leon. So he goes by like the first half of his last name, which I don't like, and is an adult with longer, unruly hair.
Oh, you're slipping, Leon.
So I think that's what got me confused in Kingdom Hearts when I was younger.
She's called
is
Leon
that I saw... Oh, that's the guy from Final Fantasy VIII. Oh, Leon. No, that's not right.
Yeah, well, Squall Leon Hart. And I just love as well that... And I think Squall never got the same push that Cloud did.
And if he did, it was only for a small amount of time and they gave up on him, because I don't remember anything.
And
like
even
that,
Tidus gets more of a push, and I think that's because like Tidus's relationship with Yuna is a lot more memorable, and like, you know, those two characters as a whole are more memorable than Squall on his own. But I always thought like he got like the rough end of the sticks. No one ever talks about Squall when they talk about a Final Fantasy protagonist, and he's super cool. Like I said, Lionheart is such a fucking sick finisher.
Here I am. I'll take it from here.
I think Final Fantasy VIII in general just gets a bit forgotten about because, like, for whatever reason, like 6, 7, 9, and 10 are really like talked about quite commonly. Maybe 9 a little less so, but still.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 so iconic. 8 was a great graphical leap, but it's too much of a departure from the traditional format. 9 was like a return to it with the more stylized characters. So a lot of people have like an affinity for that, and then 10 just came and blew everything out of the water. It had voice acting. So like 8's kind of stuck in this middle
voice
ground.
acting. It was on the PlayStation 2, so it was like this brand new like game that looked incredible at the time.
I still content on Final Fantasy 10 looks great. Like it still looks fucking good. Same with 8 as well. 8 still looks good. It holds up.
I definitely think the remasters that they had have definitely polished it up a bit.
Yeah, where they actually have like facial expressions and stuff. But we've got to talk about personality. So his scan description, when you can scan your party in this game, that's awesome. Use a sword called a gunblade. Special skill is Renzo Kuken. Silent and a bit cold. So Squall starts an introverted, cold, and taciturn teenager who pushes away those who would otherwise be considered his friends. Though withdrawn, he does not shirk from what he considers his duty. As much as he resents assuming leadership, he is the first to ensure that what is necessarily gets done. And that's where you have like that bit in the game where like, well, who like pick a leader amongst yourselves, and they all take one step back, and Squall's like, fuck's sake.
He's the only one that doesn't like actively back away from responsibility.
Yeah, he's reluctant to do it. It's like, you know, the trait of a hero. And one of the things that I like about Squall is that, as it mentions there, is he's always like, fuck it, I'll do it. Like when they've got to like, assassinate the sorceress, and Irvine fucks up, and Squall goes, okay, you pussed out. Now it's daddy's time. And he just leaps 30 feet through the air, steals a motorcycle, and charges the most powerful woman in the world with a sword.
Not the best plan, considering he just gets impaled by like an 8-foot spear of ice.
But the fact that he does it, the balls to just do that, though.
Yeah.
It says that his pragmatism and sense of responsibility lead others to trust and follow him. Even though everyone agrees Squall can be difficult, staff and students alike admire him, and he's eventually appointed the commander of Balam Garden, much to his own chagrin. During the game, he narrates his thoughts and feelings in silent voiceovers, during which he reveals the way he acts He does so out of fear of getting close to people. He cannot remember his parents, and his sister was taken away when he was young, making him afraid of losing loved ones in a similar manner. Which, I like that characterization. So he's cold because he lost his parents.
It's a classic trope for a reason. It's just, the people he was close to in the past, he lost and doesn't want to go through that again.
He's also a fucking dork, and I love that. Like the bit where Rinoa tries to get into dance, and she's like dragging him onto a dance floor. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. And he storms off. He doesn't want to do it, which we can't put a clip in of because that's like Eyes on Me, and that always gets copyright struck. I remember when we did the playthrough, every time that song played, the episode got copyright struck. It says that when he falls in love with Rinoa at the end of the game, it becomes more social and open with his friends. And you see that in the final cutscene where you see him smiling. It's like, oh, Squall's happy. And in the Dissidia games, in which he's like, a playable character, and he kicks so much fucking ass. Like the Dissidia games are like Squall is so good. Because like you'll see Cloud do Omni Slash, that's cute.
Oh, yeah.
I love your little, you hit him 8 times, dear. Try 32. Let's go. And as you mentioned earlier, Lucas, Squall's catchphrase in the English version is whatever, which he usually uses for want of a current topic to be dropped, often followed with changing the subject. In the Japanese version, however, his trademark phrase can be taken to be warakata na, which in a rough translation would be, well, excuse me. He's being excuse me, princess. He's being sarcastic.
Well, excuse me.
And this is what Rinoa used when mimicking his mannerisms on the Ragnarok. This is more akin to the colloquial use of my bad in American English. And he says it more often than he says whatever in the English version. So it's like him being sarcastic, aloof. Kind of like, a little bit cynical, a little bit wry, as I mentioned. So he says here that due to cultural differences, what constitutes being standoffish, as Japanese Squall's use of excuse me, sorry, is less apologetic and more a social obligation.
Right, yeah.
So he's just doing it of like, I don't want to apologize, I'm doing it because you want to. Also got a text, which is annoying. But yeah, it's one of those early examples that I'm like aware of where, just a direct translation wasn't possible. And it kind of fucks with the idea they were going for with the character. Like people's opinion of what the character should be or is like is heavily biased on the version of the game they played.
Yeah, and obviously there is a lot of points where you kind of later in the game get to see, as you say, like those silent inner thoughts from Squall. But probably the reason that it becomes such a meme is because majority of the people played like maybe the first 5 hours of the game.
Yeah, and he says
didn't understand its complicated systems, and most of the time you just get the whatever line. So like it just kind of both reasons kind of come together to mean that people have a really weird interpretation of their character. Yeah,
and it reminds me a little bit of like Dragon Ball, where like our version of Goku is like, "Hi, I'm Goku," and he's like super happy-go-lucky and just always looking for like a good fight. Whereas in the Japanese version, he's a lot more cynical. Like, and he's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing, and he's really like has a darker edge to it, where it's not that he loves fighting; it's that it's the only thing he cares about.
あなたは私の進化が気になってしょうがない。違いますか？
さすが宇宙一の悪人だな。オラの弱点をうまく突きやがる。
If he was like that in our version, it'd be a lot less likable.
I presume that's more towards like the Z side of things, whereas I think Dragon Ball was a bit more comedic and playful.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Goku grows older, like in the Japanese version, it becomes way less playful.
Yeah, there's like an example like in the Freezer, when he's reviving Freezer in Hell, and he talks to him, is like the Japanese version, the voice is a lot more sinister, of like, Freeze's like, I'm just going to escape and kill people, right? And Goku's like, I don't care, I just want a strong opponent. It's like, oh shit!
Oh, right.
But then we have some other sections here we can talk about, Lucas. We have gameplay, musical themes, appearances in other media, and behind the scenes.
I'm not going to say music, just because like mentioning the music in Final Fantasy VIII might get you copyright struck.
Okay, so the only music I will point out is the mini-boss theme of Force Your Way is super strong. I really like it.
It's got a really strong soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a really bopping sound. Really broad as well in its range. Like, it has lyrics as well. One of the first Final Fantasy games to feature lyrics in its songs.
But maybe go for appearances in other games, I'm curious, outside of like Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so other appearances of Squall Leonhardt. So he's appeared in the other games in the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy VI as a loading screen cameo. Final Fantasy VIII technical demo as a cameo. Pocket Station memory card icons as a cameo. Final Fantasy XIV as a triple triad card. We've not even mentioned triple triad.
Oh god, yeah.
Triple tri is so boss. Dissidia Final Fantasy is a playable character, so all the Dissidias. That Rhythm Final Fantasy as a playable character. Like, there's so many Final Fantasy like spin-offs. Like Brave Exodus as a summonable vision, Mobius Final Fantasy as a costume, Chocobo Racing as a secret playable character, and Triple Triad as a card.
And I do really like as well, just you mentioned briefly, the Theatrhythm series of like, they are just like pretty basic rhythm games, but some of the newer ones, like I think there was one recently on the Switch where it's like, would you like the entire catalogue of every banger from the Final Fantasy series? It's all of the soundtracks just meshed together into one game. It's so good.
It's so baffling. It's like, I remember when Final Fantasy 15 came out, and it's like, oh, you can listen to every song from a previous Final Fantasy game, but only in your car.
Yeah.
Or like when Tekken came out, and the PS4 version said we've got every song from Tekken in it, but not on the Xbox version. Or Street Fighter's come out, and it's like, oh yeah, you can get other tracks from previous like Street Fighter games, but only in World Tour mode. And there's not an option to pay a $5 and get every song from Street Fighter.
Yeah, you can't just, even like offline, just playing with your mates or whatever, you can't use those classic tracks for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah. No, it says here that in the 2000 film version of Charlie's Angels, two boys are playing Final Fantasy VIII and are controlling Squall and Keystis in a battle in the training center. And it's one of those like those classic movie things of they're playing it like a two-player game, but it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So, what did it look like?
I don't know. It was like, all cool and stuff.
You've never seen a booby.
Have to.
Have not.
I've seen lots of boobies.
You're right.
Yeah.
Which I love when they do stuff like that. And then we have some behind-the-scenes development info if you're curious.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Squall was the first character Tetsuya Nomura designed specifically for Final Fantasy VIII. Initially, Squall was given longer hair and a elegant appearance, but the director felt this design did not work, asking Nomura to shorten his hair and make him look more tough. Aspects of his first design can be seen in Squall's Kingdom Hearts appearances, and later his dad, Laguna, who has like longer hair and a more like androgynous appearance. Fuck it, it's time. I'm gonna get Julia back. Like, I want to see all the people leaning out the window, like, has Laguna got those caterpillars yet? Ah, he's on it. He's on it. Oh, he did 9999. That's the first time we've done that in this playthrough. Oh, let's get hype.
And that's the thing is, Squall's not exactly androgynous by any means, but definitely still not like this hyper masculine looking character.
Well, no, that's Zal. The guy who's got he's 18, he's already got a facial tattoo.
Yeah. Just
so good.
Running around Mike Tyson in his way through life.
Yeah. Oh, Luke's he ready?
I am.
I'm teamed up with Zeldinked. He's he's lively. He's not lively, he's just loud. Can I please work with someone else?
Oh, here's my mate. Just before you meet them, you do have to know they're a right character. It's like, oh no.
Look at this for an introduction now. That is a fucking introduction. Yeah! So Nomura doesn't remember why he created the scar across Squall's face, saying it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing. Like Cloud Strife's distinguishable hair, he wanted something to set Squall apart and make him instantly recognisable. Therefore, the scar was there before establishing the character's history, and it's like he gets it put across his face by his rival. And I like the way people put it, like, it's an anime scar where it just makes him hotter.
Yeah.
So he complains about the scar. It's like, why would you complain? It makes you so much hotter. It's an anime scar. It says that Final Fantasy VIII is unique in the sense that players are able to hear the main character's thoughts displayed in transparent text boxes. This idea came about because the scenario writer wanted to give players insight into what Squall was thinking at any given moment. A contrast with the handling of Final Fantasy VII, where players are encouraged to speculate.
That's fair. I mean, there's two just different ways of storytelling, I suppose.
Yeah.
You can either leave it a bit more ambiguous and up to interpretation, or you can make, the characters in a monologue visible, and therefore you just kind of know what Squall is thinking the entire time rather than him just being stoic.
Yeah, and then we have, when asked about one thing director Yoshinori Kitase would change about Final Fantasy VIII, he mentioned the FH concert where Rinoa mocks Squall by mimicking his mannerisms, and he raises his hand at her, and she dodges it. Even at the time, he would later say, he shouldn't really be hitting her. It's not really good to have our main character hitting a girl. Looking back, I wish I could change that. And I remember that, and I always found it's like a playful, banter slap. Doing your mates, making you, oh, give up!
Yeah, but maybe that's clearly not what the intention was, and it's like, yeah, maybe it wouldn't make Squall a very likable protagonist.
Yeah, I never read it that way, but clearly that was the director's intention. And I guess it's just me, I like the character, and I like their playful back and forth, so I never read it as him trying to physically swing at her.
Mm-hmm.
I just read it as more as him, trying to swat her away, stop it, I don't act like that.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of love in the air with the small saxophone playing. And she's doing the impression of you, and Squall's like, the fuck did... Oh!
Oh my god!
You didn't actually hit it, it was that joking thing.
No, but I feel like that was uncalled for, Squall.
Did you see though that really great moment? He did the looking at a thing did you just say what I think you said? Well, to end on, Lucas, I guess is there any RPGs or role-playing games that you have a particular affinity for? Because Final Fantasy VIII, people know about it. I don't think enough people have played it, so I would recommend if people can track down a cheap copy. I think it's on the Switch for £7, and it even comes with the extra bonus thing of you can just go through it at 4 times speed and level up super quick. But one thing I recommend is do not level up too much in Final Fantasy VIII, because it has another thing that pissed people off is it has a leveled world, so the higher level you are, the tougher bosses are. And I think a lot of people were like, well, I've leveled up so much and the boss, it never gets any easier. It's like, no, because the game gets harder the more you level up, because they anticipate that when you're really high leveled up, you've taken full advantage of the game's systems, which allow you to massively increase your stats and do all sorts of bonus extra damage, which I guess a lot of players didn't do. They just thought, well, if I just grind it out and get to level 99, I'll win, right? And it's like, no, because level 99 Squall, it can be weaker than a level 10 Squall, but if that level 10 Squall has the right magic junction to his stats, can outperform him damage-wise and all that good stuff.
Relative to where the world is, yeah.
And I think the problem what a lot of people had is it required you to actually think about what you were doing. We did it required my health. If a level 99 Squall's health will be 1,000. You can have Squall at level 3 have health of 4,000 if you junction Curaga to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons I like it so much, is because there's so much build flexibility you can make for your team. But I guess that's why other people didn't like it, because it's too complicated and obtuse. So I'd recommend reading a guide on how the junctioning system works before playing it. But any RPGs or from the back in the day you'd like to recommend?
Well, for me, I don't really play. I'm not massive on RPGs, but the ones I really love. So, for example, Pokemon, I love that franchise, and Mass Effect, I love that series of games. And
on your Twitch stream, which will be linked below.
We are indeed, yeah. Every Monday, 10 PM UK time.
Yep.
But and just again, the Bethesda Game Studios games, a lot of those RPGs. But I don't really have any wild picks that people haven't heard of. I'm pretty mainstream RPG wise, but I will say I don't recommend Final Fantasy 13.
Yep. Haven't you tried to tried to play through that game 4 times? You were going to do a full video on it and you just gave up, right?
Well, I played through the entire game to make a video on whether I like it or not on reflection.
You just gave up, right?
And I got through the entire game, but had no motivation to talk about it anymore because it just drained me that much.
And you know what? That sums up Final Fantasy 13. But either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back again next weekend. So we'll get into 29 minutes. So.